Welcome to the Women on Fire podcast. We're on a mission to help you have your best menopause and rest of your life. I'm your host, Jenna Moore. I'm an accredited integrative health and menopause coach, and I've studied nutritional awareness, women's hormones through a functional medicine lens, and explored various modalities, including breathwork, mindset, and positive psychology. Join me and my guests as we discuss how to navigate the natural life transition of menopause and growing older. From waistlines, waning libidos, and what to wear now we're over 40, we discuss it all. Women on Fire is sponsored by MenoMe, a New Zealand-based Australasian company by women for women. MenoMe specialises in scientifically validated all-natural supplements so you can experience freedom in menopause. Today we're talking about sex, good old sex. Let me say right here, I'm no expert, but I listen to you, I talk to experts all the time, and I'm all over the studies. So I hear from many of you who are worried about low libido. Some of you are hugely disappointed because you miss your once vibrant sex life and you're worried it's affecting your relationship. And there's a huge percentage of you who have lost all interest in sex, and several women experience painful sex, which is known as dyspareunia, which I can never say, but that is the technical term for painful sex, dyspareunia. Over 1/3 of women report sexual difficulties during any stage of menopause. On the flip side of that, some women experience just the opposite. They're wearing their partner out. They cannot get enough, although that's the exception rather than the rule in my experience. And then again, some people report the best sex ever in post-menopause because they're free of pregnancy worries. Whatever the case is for you, experts say that oftentimes your sex life will change. It's just what happens. And declining estrogen, as with many things, menopause plays a big role in that. As it nosedives, so does blood flow to the vagina and the vulva. So it takes longer to get aroused and it takes longer to reach orgasm. Over time, what happens also is the tissue becomes thinner in the vagina and sensitivity and lubrication reduce too. Plus, according to a paper which I'll link to below, the vaginal entrance actually shrinks and becomes less elastic. They also mentioned that the loss of pelvic muscle tone and a smaller bladder plays a part. Who knew a bladder gets smaller and a vagina gets smaller? However, what they noted in that paper is that these things happen more if you don't have regular sex. So it's kind of a case of use it or lose it. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but according to those who are, responsive desire takes over from spontaneous desire in midlife. So there are two forms of the desire. Spontaneous is when you want to run off to the bedroom and rip off their clothes right there. And then responsive desire starts in the brain and you kind of need to warm up first. So where your pelvic muscle system comes into play is with childbirth and with aging, it becomes weaker. And those muscles sit at the bottom of the pelvis around our vagina and our anus. I know, TMI, right? As we grow older, as I said, they can weaken. So if you can strengthen these, it will help your sex life and your orgasm potential. I'll link you to some research in that in the show notes. So it increases by working those muscles and strengthening them, you will increase blood flow and sensitivity, those very things that diminish in menopause. Kegel exercises are very helpful, but many of us don't do them properly. There are also some pelvic floor training tools that are amazing, such as FemFit and LV. It's a great idea to get in touch with a pelvic floor specialist physiotherapist who can help you work on your pelvic muscle strength correctly. FemFit actually have one in-house who can support you. I'll pop those links in the show notes. But it might not just be your hormones. Other factors to do with your libido come into play, so maybe look at those as well and what you can do with them. Have you put on weight? Are you experiencing depression, anxiety, fatigue, night sweats, joint pain, dry or itchy vagina, vaginal prolapse, or stress or urge incontinence? If you want to know more about those, please listen to Dr. Mariana on episode 105. If you still have children at home and you're looking after aging parents at the same time, that can be a big strain. Constipation and side effects of medications can diminish your libido as well. So if you can tick any of those boxes, it's kind of no wonder you don't feel like you're getting it on. But if you are lamenting your lost libido, try some of these things. The expert's number one tip is to have sex. Apparently, the more you have it, the more you want it. So there you go. Maybe fake it till you make it. Remember your you time. Self-nurturing and self-care is so important in menopause. And when it comes to sex, it's the same. You can't drink from an empty cup and all that. Have a date night. Prep, get dressed up, get away from the minutiae of the day, share quality time, cook together, go out for a walk. And nothing beats good communication, right? So talk. A problem shared is a problem halved. You know, your partner might not even understand why you're avoiding intimacy. So if you can share some of that. And as John Gray tells us, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, or rather beyond, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, talking raises your estrogen. I know it depends on the individual and the relationship because they're all not created equal, but it could help. If your partner is the problem, perhaps speak with a trained therapist about it, if budget allows. And hugging, it doesn't have to be all about orgasm and intercourse. Hugging, loving and touching activates the love hormone oxytocin, which helps you achieve orgasm, helps you manage stress and helps you sleep better. Sex is important. It can give you that connection and it's really good for your health. And of course, you may not have a partner, but you can look after yourself and invest in a vibrator or other helpers. Some people are totally happy to go without sex, and that's fine too. You do you. There are no rules. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for listening to this episode of Women on Fire. If you love what we share, please subscribe and give us a rating and or a review. In addition, visit the MenoMe YouTube channel, where you can subscribe and watch all of the interviews. That's the best way to support this podcast so that we can continue to bring it to you. Thank you for your interest in midlife, menopause and Women on Fire.